The novelization for Revenge of the Sith gives us insight into the very characters' thoughts on mysteries, and more importantly, the relationships that bloom from them. Most interesting, the relationships between Mace Windu, Palpatine, and Anakin Skywalker. Throughout the novel, Mace Windu grows to become increasingly paranoid, specifically focusing on this relationship between Palpatine and the young Anakin. In fact, in the first scene that Mace Windu appears in the novelization, he is focused so much on this relationship that he peers through the Force, attempting to use the ability of Shatterpoint, which he is known for. Shatterpoint being an ability that allows Mace Windu to perceive important moments through the Force, sense weaknesses, and even strengths. And it's interesting that he specifically mentions using this ability to peer into the relationship between Anakin and Palpatine. There is a triumphant moment when Anakin Skywalker, victorious over Dooku, arrives back on the world with Palpatine and his friend Obi-Wan. In this moment, despite the original film of Revenge of the Sith showing Anakin and Obi-Wan parting ways, and Palpatine and Mace Windu only speaking briefly about the conflict and General Grievous's escape, in the novelization, Anakin, Palpatine, Obi-Wan, and Mace all have a conversation. One in which Mace Windu questions the relationship between Palpatine and Skywalker, and more than this, the death of Count Dooku and the mysterious circumstances surrounding it. So today, Acolytes of the Force and Students of the Galaxy, we will be opening up yet another holocron and examine why Mace Windu, just moments following the Battle of Coruscant, believed that Palpatine and Anakin were lying about the death of Dooku. When Anakin arrives back on the planet, Mace Windu senses something has changed within the young boy, as the novel goes on to explain that Mace Windu senses and sees that Anakin is truly the embodiment of the hero of the Clone Wars, the same hero that Palpatine's propaganda have been preaching now for years. A new sense of confidence has now arisen in the young Skywalker, and this, although it is good that Dooku is dead, very much concerns Master Windu. Immediately, Mace Windu inquires about Dooku and General Grievous, in which it is stated that unfortunately Grievous escaped, but the Count was defeated. Amazed by this, as Mace Windu very much denoted Count Dooku as the greatest warrior of the Clone Wars, even surpassing the might of Anakin himself, he is intrigued to figure out an explanation as to the death of Dooku. What shocks Mace Windu even further is that Obi-Wan Kenobi confirms that Anakin Skywalker defeated Dooku in single combat, without the help of his Jedi Master. What makes Mace Windu extremely suspicious, however, is that Obi-Wan Kenobi recounts that he was unconscious, and cannot speak to the full details of Dooku's death. Mace Windu then analyzes the faces of Palpatine and Skywalker, seeing nothing of note within Palpatine's face. This of course made sense, he was a politician, but the young Skywalker was not as skilled at hiding his emotions, as the young Skywalker's face of confidence slowly flashed to that of concern, and perhaps even a hint of regret. Anakin Skywalker's eyes averted the gaze of Mace Windu, who still was attempting to use Shatterpoint to peer into the very mind of Skywalker, and perhaps even Skywalker knew this. Mace Windu then repeated his statement. What exactly are the full details of Dooku's death? Surprisingly, Anakin moved towards Palpatine, who answered very confidently, but this did not quell the suspicions of Windu. Palpatine explained to Mace Windu that he believed that Dooku had underestimated the great power of Anakin Skywalker, and the true hero of the Clone Wars that Anakin had now officially become. This only made Mace Windu question Skywalker more. The next sentence that would come out of Palpatine's mouth was even more concerning than the last. Palpatine calmly stated, quote, Anakin Skywalker was fighting to protect a friend. Dooku was simply fighting to defeat and destroy an enemy. Mace Windu's face grew even more concerned, as is explained in the novelization. The Jedi Council were already highly worried about the relationship forming between Palpatine and Skywalker. Anakin was in fact the Jedi chosen one, but they were concerned that his allegiances lied with the Republic and Palpatine over the Jedi Order. And Mace firsthand got to see the manipulation of the young Skywalker. Just before departing on a gunship, Mace Windu made it clear to the young Skywalker that he would require the full details of his duel with Dooku in the report to the Jedi High Council. Something I want to make clear here is that Mace Windu never once states that he believes that Dooku was too powerful for Anakin. This is not the Jedi Master's line of thinking. Instead, what truly concerns Windu is the fact that Skywalker is unable to answer him directly on any of the details, and even Palpatine is unwilling to disclose the details to Windu, likely because he does not want to outright lie to Mace Windu in front of Anakin, and shatter the boy's confidence or his connection to the young Skywalker at all. I believe and interpret in this moment that Mace Windu very much believes that Anakin defeated Dooku legitimately. However, it is this secrecy that causes the little bit of inkling in Mace Windu's suspicion. If Skywalker had lied to Windu with great confidence, I do believe that the Jedi Master would not have been suspicious, but it is due to the simple fact that Obi-Wan Kenobi did not witness the defeat of one of the greatest Clone Wars warriors ever in Dooku, and the fact that Anakin was unable to answer Mace Windu directly that greatly concerned him. Unfortunately, as we all know, Mace Windu would never come to learn the truth. Just following this, Darth Sidious knew that the Jedi Order was closing in on him. In fact, in the Revenge of the Sith novelization, it's revealed that they have even tracked Darth Sidious to the very apartment complex that Palpatine resides in, believing Darth Sidious to be a member of Palpatine's inner political circle. This was Darth Sidious's endgame. He no longer had to worry about Dooku and an apprentice, and Anakin was coming closer and closer to turning to the dark side. It was right after this that General Grievous's position was discovered on Utapau, and the Clone Wars twilight ultimately began. All of this goes to say, though, that Mace Windu, out of all of the Jedi, is the only one that questioned how Dooku was killed by Skywalker. He was one of the only Jedi who could truly see what was going on with Skywalker, and the connection that Palpatine had with him. What's curious about this, though, is the deteriorating mental state of Mace Windu over the course of the Clone Wars, which we plan on releasing a full holocron detailing. Mace Windu is more suspicious of Anakin and Palpatine as ever, but he also goes about it the wrong way. In more details we will follow in the coming holocrons. But now, Acolytes, I turn it over to you. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on how Mace Windu did not believe the way that Anakin killed Dooku, and Skywalker's inability to answer the questioning of Mace Windu directly, even turning to Palpatine for help? What do you think would have happened if the Clone Wars had gone on a little bit further, and Mace Windu was able to personally interrogate and speak to Skywalker one-on-one? Do you think the truth of Dooku's death would have emerged? And what do you think this conclusion would have been? As always, my friends and fellow Acolytes of the Force, thank you so much for visiting our archives, and again, may the Force be with you, and I hope to hear from you soon.